Cheers, legends. Sammy from Short and Stout Beer Reviews. Look at this tasty little number. So yeah, a bit of a spontaneous live tonight. I haven't been too well the last few days, so sort of taking it a little bit easy. Still been going to work, but went a bit too hard in Melbourne, and I'm not young anymore. So, but yeah, I felt like a beer tonight. I had a pretty tough night at work, and starting to feel a little bit better, even though I don't sound like it. But yeah, this Imperial Stout I've wanted to review for a while. And yeah, it looks the part in the glass. Very nice. So it's by Future Brewing. Let's get the can. And it's called Nuts, Nibs and NILLA. So I think it's roasted hazelnut, cacao nibs, and vanilla. I dare say it's probably Tahitian vanilla. And yeah, an Imperial Stout. And it is 9.2% in a 440 ml. I think this came out last month. I've had it sitting for a while. I had 2 cans. I drank one fresh, and yeah, this was one that I've just sort of sat on for a while. And yeah, it was very enjoyable, and I thought I've got to review it, especially too because Future are only like relatively new, so just got to get them out there. Like one, oh shit, I just spilled a bit on the screen. Yeah, one of those breweries that definitely need more attention. They're awesome. So yeah. Cheers, Joey, brother. Good to see you. Just a random beer review, brother. Just thought I'd jump on and crack one. So yeah, it's like pretty much jet black. It's like a tan head. Yeah, like very oily looking, full bodied. Can't wait to dive in, to be honest. Yeah, it's like got that look like it's going to be real smooth and creamy. Let's go a whiff. Exactly, brother. And that's the worst thing about when you like run down and you've got a bit of a cold and that, like you lose your like your smell and your taste. I've still got my taste, but yeah, just trying to smell stuff's not the same. But I'm getting like roastiness, yeah, that nutty quality. Not so much vanilla. It's definitely more roasty than sweet. Anyway, I'm going in. Cheers. It's got a luscious mouthfeel. Very silky, very smooth. The great Alex, the beer master, would love this. And yeah, it's got a bit of vanilla on the taste. You didn't really get it much on the aroma. Sort of sweet vanilla cuts through a bit of the roastiness. But yeah, that chocolate and hazelnut's beautiful. You sort of get that, like, even though Snickers is more of a peanut, sort of got that vibe to it. I think Snickers are peanuts. Pretty sure they are. There would be a chocolate bar that's probably more hazelnut. Very decadent dessert beer, pretty much. That's it. Are there any hazelnut chocolate bars that you can think of, Joey? I know you can get like a Cadbury block that's hazelnut, but I think hazelnuts are a bit more expensive. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I love the can artwork too. It's very simple, but yeah, just the colours on it, like just that slight sort of, I don't know, like looks like a sort of chocolate bar behind it, and then the slightly different colour F for future. And one thing I found is when I took a photo of the beer next to the can, the actual colour of the beer and then the colour of the head sort of matched the actual font in the can. Oh, it was pretty cool. Yeah, actually, yep. The old Bueno. Yeah, nougat. That's sort of like what's in actually, I think your Milky Ways are different to our Milky Ways. I can't remember. I know that there's a couple of chocolate bars. Yours are different names to ours. It is a delightful word. I do enjoy it. There's certain words too. It's like just the way different like nationalities pronounce them as well is funny. I've been watching this guy lately. He's from Canada. He's traveling around Australia and he's like just picking up on all our lingo and going into like fish and chip shops and restaurants and like supermarkets and like home hardware stores and just some of the stories and experiences and that it's so funny. Like I can relate to them, but then I can relate to them through like you guys that live in the States and Canada. Like just think like, yeah, like it just through conversations with you boys, like it's like, yeah, I can totally see what he's talking about. Just the way he takes the piss out of the way we say stuff, and yeah, it's like pretty funny. There you go. Yeah, I didn't really know what it was. I just knew it'd be some sort of like candy sugar sort of thing. It's like a pretty cool texture, whatever it is. Yeah, vitamin. So that's the weird thing. There's like particular words, like most stuff we're the same as the British because we're like ancestors of them. But then it's like we've picked up certain lingo from the Americans and we say stuff like you guys and look at like yeah, it's just weird. Like I feel like Australia is sort of a combination of America and the UK, whereas you guys are just yeah, like you've got your own history and your own shit. Yeah, no worries, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I think like I've hung around both UK and US people enough now to sort of like I sort of know particular Australian lingo that they wouldn't understand, so I know when not to say it. And there'll be certain stuff I'll say to people because I know that they've heard about it before and we joke about it and shit. Like one thing, Drew is in miscellaneous. He's been trying to sort of research some of the Aussie like slang just so he can sort of get a leg up on everyone else. And yeah, it's been pretty funny. He'll just like drop something on me unexpectedly. Yeah. See, one of the beer reviewers in Netherlands, you might have come across him before, Thomas. He he sort of hangs around with like Craig, but and Harry and those sort of guys, but he also hangs around like Matt from Massive Beers and um who else does he hang around? Like Joe the Beer Patrol, I think. Keith from whatever the fuck his channel's called. Yeah, and he actually because English isn't his main language, it's Dutch. So when he hangs around with Americans, his English starts to sound American. But then when he hangs around the English, his English like sounds real like posh English. So they're like, oh, you need to hang around with Sammy and see if you start speaking Australian. Yeah. Yeah, he's a good bloke. You just haven't seen him, as much of him lately. He did I think he did a stream with Matt just recently, like, and Adam from Mersey Beers. Like, quite often they'll talk about Star Wars and some like sort of sci-fi stuff. Yeah, pardon me. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, I feel like BeerTube's such like a strong, tight knit community. It's good. There's always going to be that fucking that sort of stigmatism around bloody weed and shit. Like when it comes to like being online and in people's face, even though like it's legal in states. But oh yeah, cool. No worries, Stu. You still getting the trophies out there, brother, or what? So yeah, this is the first beer I've had in probably about, I mean, 6 days. Like it doesn't sound like very long, but I mean, in the last probably 6 months, most weeks I would have drank a couple of beers during the week and stuff. So, especially doing reviews and that. I just went way too hard in Melbourne. I did a pulled an all nighter the first 2 days I was there. Then I come back home, worked overnights, didn't sleep very well, and then went back to Melbourne and partied again and went to a heap of events. I did have accommodation there and felt like I slept all right, but come home and yeah, just felt terrible ever since. It was almost like I got the old pandemic C, but I'm just one of those people that just soldiers on. Yeah, I sort of like, even though I sound like shit, I definitely feel better. Like a couple of days ago, I felt like shit. And now I've got a fridge full of grog. See, grog, that's an Aussie word. Fridge full of grog, heaps of like really good hot beers from all around the world, pretty much. And because yeah, I haven't been drinking, and or if I have, I've been away, so I've got all this real good stuff at home now, so it's good. Just need to get through a week of work. I must admit, like work has been the same as far as some of the challenges we've had and the shit we have to deal with like actual stuff at work, but the people I've worked with lately has been awesome. Like I've gone from having like really lazy, um, I don't know, just people I don't really click with, like on my crew, to having like I don't know people that are really outgoing and my type of people, but they actually want to work as well. So like it, even though like work might be shit, if you got people that are like minded, like and your type of people, it makes it so much easier. Ah, there you go, Stu. So I've seen you promoting a guy in Pompey, like down in the south. Is that like just one of your mates? He looked like he had a fair setup. That's down near like Scott and Wandered live in Portsmouth. Yeah, being in the yeah, like in the fishing community, you'd have friends in all different areas. And I remember asking you where was some spots that you'd love to fish, and yeah, your answers were cool, like just real sort of obscure sort of places that I wouldn't have even known about. Fishing's one of those things I should have got into, like especially being a country lad growing up on like in a coastal city. But as a kid, like I was just more about for me it was like football, cricket, and when it come to the beach, I used to go to the beach all the time, but it was more like bodyboarding and surfing. And like we'd also do a bit of snorkeling as well because we are like where we lived was like really cool, sort of like not coral, but like oh, I can't think of the name. It's when you got all the sort of rock formations not far off the coast. Really cool, like islands and stuff like to explore. But yeah, like I've got like a lot of fishing mates, but for some reason I just never got into it. I think it doesn't help too, because yeah, I feel like I don't have the patience. It'd be one of those things. I reckon now I'm sort of older and wiser and more chilled. I'd probably enjoy a lot more. It's one of those nights, I reckon. Like, even though like I'm not feeling too well, like, I could probably go a couple of beers and kick on for a bit. I don't have to. I mean, it's just after midnight. I only finished work 2 hours ago, so I don't have to work again till tomorrow afternoon. Or should I say this afternoon because it's after midnight. It was just one of those things. I felt like a beer, and I'm like, stuff it. I'll do a review and just talk shit. Yeah. So Portsmouth's down like right down in the south, as in like you're heading towards France, isn't it? I could just imagine if you had a boat off that area, like some of the places you could explore would be cool. Oh, cool. Oh, Joey, how cool is that NFL dude in Melbourne? I'm like, come on, Vikings. No, they reckon I read into it a bit more. They reckon it's gonna be a oh, fuck, what was the name of the team? It's like, yeah, I think it's the is it the LA team or the Vegas team? I sent the message to Josh. I'm like, I'm going regardless. I don't care who's playing, I'm going. I've got it written down somewhere. LA Rams. It said, yeah, I read more into the Melbourne hosting the NFL game at the MCG next year. Possible opening to 100,000 people, and they're saying an LA Rams home game during regular season. That'd be fucking awesome. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things like I've like sort of thought about it. Yeah. Like, is there talk of the Browns actually going, or you just like you're hoping that's the case? Because yeah, I know they brought out that they had a list. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, they had a list where they talked about the particular different nations around the world in the NFL and where teams were favoured in certain countries. And yeah, when it come up with like it was like LA Rams and a few other teams, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like in Australia, like I mean NFL, like in Melbourne and stuff, I see like NFL fans, and I wouldn't have thought Rams at all. I would have always just like I've always seen lots of Patriots fans. Green Bay's always been a popular one. Yeah, there's just particular teams you see a lot of. But yeah, like actually another one that Melbourne was popular for was Philadelphia. But one thing that was cool because Philadelphia's had some past AFL like punters and stuff, so that's fair enough. You can sort of see the correlation there. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, they'll come to Melbourne, dude. And like, I'm not joking, but the MCG, Melbourne Cricket Ground's one of the greatest sporting stadiums in the world. It holds about 105,000 people. And something like this, people are going to get around. They're going to be like people like me that love NFL and have never seen a game. So they're going to go there regardless of who plays. So you're going to get a huge crowd, and it'll just be this electric atmosphere. And yeah, like a team that like Rams that might not get these huge crowds, they're going to play there and get this massive crowd, and it'll be like a big thing for them. Yeah, cool. Nah, dude, like if the Browns did come to Melbourne, I'd even like because I don't live in Melbourne, like I'm in a rural area. But like if you were going to come out here, whether it was just you or a few people, I'd even like go in and like get a like a Airbnb or a hotel or something together, and we'll just party and go to the game, and it'd be sick as. I'll take you to some awesome places. So is that like a awesome Browns like away game, is it? Yeah, you only live once, fuck it. Cheers, Craig, brother. What are you up to, dude? Just chilling. Yeah. To be one of those things you could definitely sort out. Yeah, it's just like like just not readily available like you're used to, and yeah, the quality's I don't know, like the quality might be there, but when it comes to your high end stuff, it's like ridiculous pricing and stuff. Yeah, that's cool. Cleveland sounds like a pretty like happening city. Yeah, dude, I just went too hard in Melbourne. Or went to Melbourne, did overnights, went to Melbourne, and yeah, just been feeling real run down since. Like I'm getting better now, but I sound like shit. I've still been going to work, but yeah, like just I haven't had a drink for about 6 days. This is my first one since. Yeah. Florida would be awesome. One thing Drew he always he says like Florida's like Australia light. It's like everything there wants to kill you or eat you. Similar weather when it's hot. We don't have all the retirees like that move from other. I suppose we do, but not to that same extent. I still feel our beaches are a lot better here than what they are in Florida. You having a beer, Craig, or what? Probably on. Actually, you're probably about school run time now. I'm guessing. Yeah, that's insane. I guarantee though that I guarantee that there's probably way more that are coming into Australia now than what what's coming into Florida. They have just went, bring him in, bring him in. Are you having a beer, Craig? We might have to have a sesh, even if it's just a few. Nah, just the one thing with Australia, they've just went way too heavy on the immigration, and now the infrastructure just can't handle it. It's like all the train lines, all the highways, just everything is fucked. Just can't cope with the amount of people. It's just too big of an influx too quick. Like, yeah, as I said, like I live in the like a rural area, like southwest of Melbourne, and like back in the day, never had any trouble getting to the city and back, like within a few hours and stuff. And now it's just like an absolute nightmare. And then, yeah, if you live in the city, obviously it's terrible. Like you used to be able to drive a particular suburb to a couple of suburbs away and it'd be normal 15, 20-minute drive. Now it takes you like an hour and a half. Sydney's pretty similar, but I feel like Melbourne's definitely the city that's growing a lot faster than everywhere else. I wouldn't be surprised worldwide if Melbourne's probably one of the most like fastest growing cities. Yeah, so if I was to go to Flinders Street Station from where I live, it'd probably be like, it depends. Like if I drove there, if I drove, I could probably do it in like maybe like 2 hours, maybe a little less. But yeah, if you catch a train there, it's probably like on a good day, probably 2.5. Yeah, it's like our train system's really like shit. Like it's like third world country equivalent. In the city, our public transport's pretty good, but just out to rural areas and stuff, it's like they really need like a faster, like the fast trains or like just something more reliable. Like where I live, they've only got a single rail, so like you can't even have a train going one way while another one comes the other way. They have to like stop and wait, and it's fucking ridiculous. No, it's cool that you know Flinders Street Station. That's awesome. It's definitely like one of the main sort of like hubs of Melbourne. And yeah, it looks pretty cool at night when they have all the different lighting and shit on it. Yeah, we're pretty much the same. Like as far as like, yeah, if you want to go like rural and stuff, yeah. I mean, with you guys especially because you got so many states and so many capital cities and stuff. You're not going to have railways that go from yeah each and every one. Yeah. Yeah, it'd definitely be the case. Like, especially like if you're down in the south, you'd be fucked if you didn't have like your own transport or Oh, yeah. I always forget about Isaac Butterfield. He's pretty well known worldwide. Yeah, no worries, dude. Yeah, anywhere up in that sort of area, you're gonna be pretty much right. I feel like, yeah, if you're down in like like sort of, yeah, Colorado, Arizona, Texas, Nevada, like all that sort of area down there, like, yeah, it's definitely like a big amount of travel. It's like when you're in the middle of Australia, you pretty much either bus, train, real uncomfortable, or you're flying. But yeah, I better score this beer that I'm reviewing, apparently. I forgot all about it. Got sidetracked just talking shit, which is good. I like this stuff. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but just something about Texas intrigues me. I've always wanted to go there. Yeah. Like, just from what you know, Joey, because you've probably been to nearly every state. Like, if you were to say to someone like me, like 5 states that you think you have to check out if you come to the States, what would the 5 be? Even if they're not even close to each other. What would be 5 states that you're like, "Oh, you definitely gotta check that out." This beer, by the way, I reckon 4.5 out of 5. And it's gone. Yeah. Yeah, California's so big and there'd be so much on offer. Alaska would be unreal, but, like, just so sort of remote to everything else. Yeah, Ohio would be cool. There's plenty of states sort of like Ohio that people probably wouldn't go to, but I reckon they'd be awesome. Yeah. I don't know, like, Hawaii's one of those states that would be good, but it's similar to going to Queensland for me, or like I've been to Fiji. So it's like Hawaii. It even has similar vibes to New Zealand. So it's like, and it's not like mainland US. So it's probably one of those areas I'd never really go to. But yeah, there's so many like states in America. Like it'd be so. If I was like to go there in the next few years, it's going to be real tough to like sort of work out where I want to go. It'll pretty much just like most of it will be just where people I like get on with and want to hang out with and stuff, like where they are and all that sort of shit. Yeah. What did you love about Alaska? Yeah, go to the places where people are gonna look after you the most. Yeah, nah, like, to be honest, dude, if I was going to the States, I'd probably say I'd have at least 10, I reckon, so and that's like I'm saying I'd have 10 saved, and that's like probably still staying with mates most of the time as well. Yeah, that sort of stuff would be cool. Yeah, that's nuts. Because I keep forgetting, like with you guys, like how close you are to Europe and the UK and that on that other side. So yeah, you could. It's just weird to think that you can get in a plane and be in Germany like quicker than being in like Anchorage or somewhere. I could just imagine though, like how much of a challenge it would be to get to a place like Alaska. But once you're there, it'd be awesome. And most people that probably grow up in Alaska, they probably love it. And like, I could imagine some of them would probably go and explore other areas and then come back home. Like, yeah, yeah, Alaska would be awesome. Yeah, and there's probably plenty of them too. Like, how far is like, the very, the very northwest tip of Alaska? How far is that from like the very northeast tip of Russia? Because when you look at maps and stuff, it looks like Alaska and Russia, like they get pretty close to each other. Cheers, buddy. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, that's insane. That's cool. Like, how unreal would it be if you're like, yeah, you're in Alaska and then all of a sudden, oh, fuck it. I'm going to go over to Russia for a while. Siberia. It's just so weird for me to think because, like, in Australia, we're not connected to any other country. We can't just get in a car and drive to, yeah, like Papua New Guinea or Indonesia or New Zealand or any of them. Whereas just about any other country in the world, you can get in your car and drive to another country. So yeah, it's like just yeah, just the weird like I remember someone saying recently you could drive from the very bottom of South Africa and go right through to like Russia. I'm like, that is so fucking like I just can't fathom that. Like, yeah. Now it's like Joe and Dan and all those boys, they can go to Canada in like an hour. It's weird though, like some of the people you talk to on YouTube, like I bust my ass just to get to the city so I can like do the things I want to do and that. And I'll travel like 2, 3 hours just to get there. And then you'll get these people complaining that they can't do this and they can't do that. But they don't leave where they live and they've got all this stuff within a few hours of them. It's like, stop complaining, just get out there and do it. Most people are a lot closer to stuff than what I am. Yeah. But that's the thing. Like if you lived in America and you're right near the Canada border, like it'd be stupid not to have your passport, and vice versa if you're on the other side. Yeah. It'd be interesting just with quality of life and all the positives and negatives of each nation and that, just weighing it up and seeing if you'd be better off being, yeah, in a particular state of America or Canada or because like everyone says Australia is fucking awesome, like great place to live, but it's so expensive, like and like particular things like say if you're into craft beer like me, it's like a shit country to live because yeah, the beer here is like the nearly the most priciest in the world. It's like I'd rather live somewhere else where I don't get fucked over. They'll be like, "Oh, you get good health care or something like that," and it's like, "Yeah, but I don't give a shit." Like I'm a single male that like hardly ever hurts myself, and like that sort of thing doesn't really affect me. And like, I mean, obviously when I get old and stuff, it does, but I couldn't give a fuck about that sort of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's like California and yeah, it sounds like Florida's pretty bad these days too, and like New York and yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, I just want to live somewhere where like I go out and work hard like I do, but I can still like just live a simple life, but like buy some good beers and do a bit of travel and that, not fucking like spend my all my earnings just because of tax. Like it's just so ridiculous in Australia with alcohol. Like yeah, people even English complain about how bad their alcohol is. I was hanging out with a Brit the other day and he goes, He goes, we all complain about our beer, and then we come out to Australia and we're like, fuck, we've got it way better than what they do. When you went to Korea, where were you? Korea would be awesome, whether it be south or north. I mean, north's like, yeah, with all the fucking communism or whatever the fuck's going on there, it'd be pretty hard, but it'd still be intriguing. South Korea would be fucking unreal. Yeah, what is soju? I was at a bar the other day and I was talking about something, and then someone mentioned that. I was like, oh yeah. Is soju like is that sort of the Korean equivalent of sake or something? Cheers, Levi, brother. Good to see you. I want it. Yeah. I love like when you'll talk about something and then I'll ask what it is, and then it's like you're referring to Google or asking whoever Alexa or whatever her name is. Fuck. That is a massive like variation in alcohol content. Yeah, human AI. When I read that first part, I thought of the Meatloaf song. You took the words right out of my mouth. I'd sing, but my throat is very sore. Did you ever try Carver, Joey? Like, were you ever in the Pacific Islands and tried the Carver? For me, when I had Carver, it's sort of like that in between of getting like stoned and drinking. It's sort of like very, very different, but like a cool experience. So yeah, I've been to Fiji. Fiji was the first country I visited outside of Australia, and got on really well with some of the natives there on one of the islands. And yeah, we went to a couple of like sort of little gatherings they had, and yeah, got stuck in. And whew, I just remember my mate that I was with, he really battled, like it fucked him real hard. Like I sort of just had that initial feeling, and like, yeah, it was awesome, and then it would just pass. Sort of like, I don't know if you're smoking billies all night or something, but yeah, it was one of those things on him. It took massive effect, and he was like fucked for like 3 or 4 days. Like, oh, just funny thinking about it. Yeah, the real stuff from, like, Eastern Europe, and that'd be awesome. You always see it in movies, and you're like, "Oh, I wanna try that shit." What I might do, I might end this just because it was the review, and I'll finish on that, but I might even go live again if people are hanging around, and might if people wanna jump up, and we'll have a chat. Have a beer and a chat if anyone's about. Joey, Buddy, Levi, Craig, what are your thoughts, boys? Because, yeah, I'm keen to grab a few more beers out of the fridge and hang, if you may. I'd just rather do it on like a new, fresh video. Oh, cool. No worries, dude. What time is it there, Joe, to be like mid-morning? Like this hit the spot, but it's like it's gone. I want more. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like just after 1 a.m. here, but because I didn't get home from work till only a couple of hours ago, it's like, yeah, like I'm keen for a few beverages, and I'll be up for at least a few hours. So, well, I might end it here anyway, and we'll just see what happens. So, thanks everyone for chiming in. And as far as this beer goes, it was brilliant. I'd say about a 4.5 out of 5. Future, or a yeah, relatively new brewery out of Sydney, killing it at the moment. So get around them if you're in Australia. Hopefully they get out and about like Southeast Asia and stuff. Yeah, good chat tonight. It's always awesome. Just doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can jump on and have a beer and have a smoke, or even just something to eat and have a chat, and it's good times. So yeah, we'll see you on the next, boys and girls.